Happy 100th birthday, FRE.
Whoa, that's even older than you, Caleb.
I'm only a few years older than you, Alena. Calm down.
Like Caleb said, I'm Alena Poulin, he is Caleb Stair, and this is FRE Lunch,
the official podcast of the Food and Resource Economics Department at the University of Florida.
This season is all about our greatest hits. Well, FRE's greatest hits.
It's part of a broad effort to showcase all the cool things FRE has done and is doing.
And with that, on with the episode.
From revolutions to racks of ribs, Independence Day is almost here.
In fact, it's my favorite holiday.
I thought Halloween was your favorite holiday.
Well, okay, they're all my favorites, but the 4th of July has all the economics.
Ah, of course. You mean taxes, tea, and treaties?
Well, maybe, but I was thinking about barbecues, booms, and birthdays. Just like birthdays, seasonal spending is, well, spending that happens during a season once a year.
That's right. And with it comes fireworks, fanfare, and often a hefty grocery bill.
Anyway, consumer expenditures soar every 4th of July because of this holiday and its associated celebratory traditions.
And with 2026 marking the 250th anniversary of the United States, many celebrations are bigger than ever before.
Bigger than the original Independence Day, you think?
I don't know. This is an economics podcast, not a history one.
Well, now, with 250 years of history comes a lot of holiday traditions like barbecuing, picnics, and, of course, fireworks.
Throughout today's episode, we'll go over some of the main costs associated with this holiday and how holiday tourism can create multiplier effects.
If you were to play a word association game and ask someone what they picture when it comes to the 4th of July, it would, of course, be...
Fireworks?
Yes, that's coming later, though. But now what I was thinking of, I was picturing barbecue, juicy burgers, saucy chicken, and creamy potato salad.
Caleb, you're drooling.
Sorry, I haven't eaten yet today.
Well, Caleb might be hungry, but he's not wrong. America has been a country for 250 years, and we've been grilling up meats for just as long.
Meat is a pretty popular food item for the 4th of July. While ground beef, most likely for hamburgers, is the most popular product, hot dogs, sausages, and chicken are commonly offered items.
And don't forget the vegetarians. Plant-based meat alternatives have also become increasingly more popular in recent years.
Right, it's not just meat. Other cookout staples like tomatoes, beans, watermelon, and sweet corn all are on the menu too, which is great news if you're a producer of these products, like Florida's farmers, as the state ranks #1 for cash receipts in both sweet corn and watermelon production.
Speaking of cash receipts, how much is this all going to run me for?
Typical Alena, always thinking with your wallet. Me, I think with my stomach.
Yes, Caleb, that's obvious. I've seen your monthly Starbucks bill.
Anyway, according to the National Retail Federation, 87% of consumers plan to celebrate the 4th of July in 2026 and spend a record average of $94.41 on just the food items.
Which means that paper plates, plastic cups, and grill accessories might not be included in that number.
Now, my $94.41 might go a lot farther than yours.
What, just because you have a PhD?
No, Alena, it's because we live in different areas, shop at different stores, eat different foods, you vegetarian you.
Right. So with all those factors at play, how can we figure out just how much our cookouts will cost?
Well, one thing you could do is conduct a survey, which is just what the American Farm Bureau does. Farm Bureau members were invited to participate June 1st through the 7th this year in American Farm Bureau's Summer Cookout Survey of retail food prices commonly used to prepare a cookout meal for 10 people.
The survey tracks the prices on foods ranging from ground beef and American cheese all the way to lemons and ice cream.
This is just like what I do in my class. We have students pick 5 goods that they regularly purchase and track their prices over the course of a semester. That way they are more familiar with the impacts of inflation on things like, yes, gas prices, but also their grocery bill.
It's true, a couple cents here and there might not get noticed on a random trip to the store. But if that's happening consistently over an entire semester, suddenly you won't be able to afford the same bundle of groceries.
So what did that survey find?
Well, for starters, the cost of a cookout was actually less than the predicted food-related spending from the National Retail Federation, with the total bill for a 10-person cookout estimated to be about $73.82, or $7.38 per person.
Now, such a big difference could mean a lot of things, but likely comes down to what their surveys actually measured.
That's right. While the Farm Bureau survey asked participants to report back on the current store prices for the specific food items needed to produce a well rounded cookout, the National Retail Federation measured what consumers thought they were actually going to be spending.
But let's get down to the only question that actually matters here. Can I afford filet mignon?
Didn't you just get a raise?
Shh. Though that is the point of doing an inflation adjustment when talking about prices. In the same way that grocery prices have increased, my paycheck has also increased. The hope is my paycheck went up by more than inflation.
Right. And of course, that's not true for everyone. But in general, while the sticker prices have gone up about 4% this year, it's important to look at the whole picture. And that's exactly what the Farm Bureau did.
At least in terms of how much your money can buy, their data shows this has been pretty stable over the past decade.
But when it comes to your filet mignon, that's a bit more complicated. There have been a few years of bad droughts and elevated operating costs for cattle farmers.
According to this survey, 2 pounds of ground beef increased 73 cents from last year. That's to about $14.06. That's a 5.5% increase, and the highest beef price recorded since they've been doing this survey.
Good thing my favorite cookout food is strawberry shortcake.
I think strawberries might be in a similar boat.
You mean field?
It looks like strawberries posted one of the largest increases in the basket.
It looks like this year, 2 pints of strawberries costs on average about $5.27. That's up almost 12.4% from the 2025 survey.
That could be because of the frost in Florida that affected young strawberry plants early this spring.
Sure, that plus higher labor, fuel, refrigeration, and transportation costs. It all puts pressure on the farmers and on fresh fruit and vegetable prices.
Now, these rising costs aren't necessarily tied to one specific industry. It's much more of a general increase.
That's important to note as it helps explain why prices are increasing and that those increasing prices don't necessarily mean increasing profit margins.
Managing and adapting to challenges like these is just one aspect of what it takes to be involved in agriculture in 2026.
If you're interested in learning more about this topic and why we should all be grateful for our farmers, check out our episode from last November.
Now, when it comes to the freeze, we actually have a group in our department checking all this stuff out.
That's right. Our very own Economic Impact Analysis program is hard at work now, finalizing their own survey analysis to determine just how severe the losses from the 2026 winter freeze events were across Florida agriculture.
These reports are then used by policymakers to help better understand where support is needed in the disaster recovery process.
We invited EIP Program Director Krista Court to talk about it, but she was too busy, actually doing her research.
Anyways, we'll have a link to the report in this episode description as soon as it's available. And if you're interested in learning more about the disaster impact analysis process in general, you can go back and check out our very first podcast episode, where Dr. Court joined to tell us all about how she determines the agricultural losses that occur whenever a hurricane impacts Florida.
Now, according to that National Retail Federation survey, 33% of people are also planning on buying decorations or other patriotic things that will add to their celebration.
Like fireworks!
Exactly. Of the 322.4 million pounds of fireworks that were purchased in 2025, over 90% of those were consumer fireworks. These are smaller than the ones that are best left to professionals, but nonetheless add to the festivities.
Now, there are plenty of things that affect the quality of a fireworks display, or even if they can happen. For example, large parts of Florida were under a burn ban just recently, something you should always check on to avoid a bigger bonfire than you bargained for.
Plus, there's the issue of storms, budgets, and how well a show was attended last year.
Now, those concerns don't seem to be slowing down the desire to see bright explosions in the sky this year.
In fact, it is estimated that Americans will spend about $2.5 billion on fireworks this year, according to the executive director of the American Pyrotechnic Association. A good portion of that spending will occur in the weeks leading up to the July 4th celebration.
That is definitely an increase from last year, most likely due to it being the 250th anniversary of the United States. But we can talk about that later.
Actually, that's a perfect segue to the next thing that I wanted to talk about: tourism and seasonal spending.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the beach.
That's not how the song goes, Caleb, though people do go participate in these activities for the 4th of July. In fact, in 2026, 13% of people celebrating plan to do so by taking a vacation.
That's true. Not every barbecue you attend will be in your backyard. Whether it's a barbecue at a friend's house or a barbecue restaurant across state lines, the journey can be an important factor to consider when it comes to holiday spending.
Last year, the American Automotive Association projected 72.2 million people would travel at least 50 miles or more from their house over the Independence Day holiday period.
Now, when you're traveling for the 4th of July, whether you're going to the beach, an amusement park, a baseball game, or our nation's capital, these excursions all come with associated costs well beyond the ticket price for admission.
Some of these costs include things like your hotel, the food purchased in an area, gas and tolls. They are all direct costs that contribute to the local economy. In addition, there's what we call a multiplier effect.
A dollar spent in one place becomes income for someone else, who then spends it on something somewhere else, which creates a ripple effect.
Picture this. A family of 5 is driving to Disney World from Virginia to celebrate the 4th of July. On their way there, they stop off in a small town and go into a local convenience store. While they're there, they buy $15 worth of snacks for the trip.
That $15 becomes someone else's income. Let's say they take 12 of those dollars and go buy a movie ticket at the local theater. Now that $12 becomes income for another person.
This ripple effect continues until someone eventually decides not to spend that last little bit. Maybe they're putting it in savings.
This means that even though the small town was not the final destination, it still benefited from the 4th of July trip.
Beyond the typical multiplier effects that travel has, holidays or other periods of time where heavy tourism or spending can be expected also create the opportunity for seasonal hiring.
Since summertime is when a lot of people take vacation time, there is an increase in the demand for vacation-oriented activities.
To be able to offer these activities requires that many businesses hire additional employees.
These seasonal employees also contribute to the greater effect being had on the overall economy.
One step beyond seasonal spending is what we would call the temporary demand shock that occurs whenever a special event, such as the 250th anniversary of the United States, happens.
Other examples might be the World Cup, the Olympics, or even a solar eclipse.
These events are usually correlated with economic growth, job creation, and potentially increased investment into the local infrastructure.
Some events can be so well attended that local resources actually become overwhelmed. Now, of course, major cities and sites are preparing for this surge in tourism. Places like Mount Rushmore, Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia all have major historical ties to the United States.
Philadelphia estimates that the year-long celebrations could generate between $1.3 to $2.5 billion for their local economy.
Other major tourist destinations like Disney are capitalizing on the festivities too and are expanding philanthropic programs in tandem with the anniversary.
It certainly seems like whether you're an active participant or just a casual observer, this 4th of July has a lot in store.
That's good to point out. Whether you are traveling for the holiday or not, seasonal events do have an impact on you wherever you are.
So this year, when you're shopping for those last-minute items for your cookout, driving to your celebration, or waiting in a super long TSA line, just remember those dollars you spend actually travel too.
Regardless of what you are doing on the first Saturday in July this year, we here at FRE Lunch wish you a happy and safe 4th of July.
And we would like to say,
Happy birthday, USA! If you've made it this far, you've finished the entire episode, and we thank you for that. Tune in next time for more food for thought. Thanks again for joining us on this episode of FRE Lunch. We hope you'll come back again for seconds.